Hello, everyone. Welcome to Baby Talk Tuesday. I'm actually on Tuesday. Sorry about last week. Missed Baby Talk Tuesday with all the travel and the holidays and so on and so forth. But welcome back this week. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Cara Wright. I have been facilitating all things mom and baby for basically my whole adult life. You could even argue before that. And Baby Talk Tuesdays are where we bring up different topics about what are the different possibilities with pregnancy and birth that you've never considered. So welcome. If you love this content or you know someone who would benefit from this content, if you're a pregnant mama or you're someone who works with pregnant women, you can visit my Facebook group, Baby Talk with Cara Wright, and all the past Baby Talk Tuesdays are there. Also, please let me know, is there any topic you would like me to go into? I can pretty much speak to any topic around pregnancy, birth, before pregnancy, after birth, whatever you would like more information around. So please join the group. Let me know in the group if there's a topic that you'd like me to speak to. And so welcome. Today. So what am I going to be talking about today? So I believe the topic was, so you're growing a baby. What does it take? And the topic is an interesting one. And I think what I became aware of was everywhere, it's more like everywhere you are so acutely aware of what everyone else has decided that growing a baby and having a baby takes, that really has nothing to do with what you and your baby require, desire, need. And it's, anytime you are in this particular population, for those of you that have been pregnant or that are currently pregnant, like everybody will come out of the woodwork and tell you their advice. Not only will they tell you their advice, they will tell you where they got the advice. They will pretty much, bar none, give you their experience. Like, it's one of those things. And I do believe that, and I talk a lot about the turn of the century, but something really changed, especially in the kind of the more progressed cultures, so, the United States is and the Europees is, and, the more like progressed cultures around the turn of the century. And birth became something that wasn't like, it was like separate from. So it's like birth went from having the babies in the home. You saw women have babies. It was a very normal thing to, now we're taking this and we're putting this into a different environment. We're going to put it into a hospital environment, and we're going to change the way in which people are present at births, like including fathers, including mothers. It's like, and that's a huge change. Like, we went from, like women would have babies with their family around them, whether it be like all their previous children, all their sisters, their mothers, and the men would be there as well. In some situations they would be, in some situations they wouldn't be, but it was like this more normal, organic thing that occurred, that everyone was aware of. And it wasn't this outside of normal daily life that it is today. And when that all began was during the Industrial Revolution, and when we decided that it was better for women to birth in hospitals. Now, is a hospital an absolutely appropriate place to be for some women and babies? Yes, a million times. Is it required for normally moving along physiologic birth? No, it's not. And there's lots of different places and spaces you can have your baby. And maybe one of the baby talks in the future, I will go into those. But so this topic today is just more really about bringing to your attention and awareness how much you get inundated as a woman, and even often as a dad who's expecting baby. For whatever reason, it's one of those topics, like I said before, that people just think it's perfectly okay to express to you their points of view, their experiences. And unfortunately, for, a lot of people, they haven't had the best birth experiences. They didn't have the best pregnancy experiences. And so what happens is you're inundated with all of this information, and you start to look at, like, okay, well, do I have to make this relevant to me? Like, are these things I need to actually try to figure out, does it matter or not? Like, you start to try to do something with it. It's like all of a sudden you have this box, and then all these rocks get put in the box, and you're like, okay, what do I do with the rocks? Should I be categorizing the rocks? Should I be like making the rocks a different priority? What do I do with all of this? One of the things that I love about the tools of Access Consciousness, and before I found Access Consciousness, I was a doula for years. I taught prenatal and postnatal yoga, and I was a student. Like, you can see my one of my bookshelves behind me, but like, I read so many books, and I looked into so many different um, theories and different modalities and different ways and different choices women have. And that's the thing that I think is the most valuable. And, um, there's some basic tools of Access Consciousness that when I actually started using them with my clients, it allowed us to start to kind of filter through all of that just massive download of information you get. Because not only is it the obvious of like somebody verbally saying to you, well, this is what happened for me, well, this is what I did, well, this is what I think you should do, or this is what you shouldn't do. It's also just what you download in people's out of people's worlds that is nonverbal. Sometimes that's the trickier shit, right? Like the nonverbal stuff, the stuff people, when someone says something and it has a little bit of like a ping to it of like, ooh, to me, it's like I always get a little like want to jump right out of my skin because what you just said has nothing to do with what you actually like, what your actual point of view is. And this happens so much. And when you're pregnant, I used to talk about this a lot in my prenatal classes. Like, we are energetic beings. I mean, you look at physics, we're energy. We're mostly space. We think we're solid, we're mostly space. We are constantly translating the energies around us. Like, you think you're talking in whatever language you speak to the person in front of you. You think the conversation is centered around the words you're having. However, I would like to postulate that that is actually not what's going on, that the words that are going on between you and that person are very, 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 very secondary. And everything else is what's actually true and what's actually going on. And you are actually aware of it. And when you become pregnant, in order to be able to co-create and collaborate and grow a baby with this being who is also contributing to its body, it's contributing to your body, contributing to, like, it also has desires of what it would like to choose, how things it would like to go, which is 99.9% of what baby talk's all about. Like, in order to be able to have the ability to do that, to cooperate and collaborate with another being, you have to have a lot of your barriers down. You have to have a lot of those things that you've erected, because no one tells you that you're energetically aware of people, and to the degree that we are. You don't get that information in school. You don't really get it from anywhere, really. But it's there. It's actually real. It's actually true. So what many of us do is we like come up with all different ways of blocking out all of those energies. And when you become pregnant, that out of necessity has to minimally lessen and a lot of times go away. And everybody says, oh, it's the hormones. That's why women are so, all over the place and so emotional when they're pregnant and all these things. It's like, yeah, like hormones can definitely change. how you are in the world. And when you've erected these energetic barriers and filters in order to like just be in the world semi comfortable, those have to go down when you're actually collaborating with a being to create a body. You're going to be way more aware of stuff. So you're going to pick up way more from the people around you. And when you pick up all that stuff, you don't even know what to do with it. And some of it's not even cognitive. This is where the access tools make such a big difference. And for me, adding them to what I already knew and adding them to what I could offer my clients, main one being Access Bars, which is a body process that you basically lightly put your hands on someone's head that helps them dissipate and release the energetic components of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that keep them stuck. So, you know, that thought that keeps going on in your head, or that feeling of dread or holy shit that keeps going around and around in your world. Just simply running someone's bars is going to dissipate and release that so that it no longer becomes so stuck in your world. You might be aware of it. You might have a thought of it, but it's not going to be this overwhelming, like, oh my God, I can't be or think anything else besides that thought. And so what I would recommend, if you have somebody near you, you can go to accessconsciousness.com/, I think it's the bars, and you can find facilitators near you. If there's anyone in your area that runs bars and you're currently pregnant, please go get your bars run at least one time. Not only does the bars facilitate you and your body and allow you to have more ease and space, it actually facilitates the baby and the baby's body and allows them to have more space. And when you're looking to see what is your requirement, your desires, your needs during pregnancy and birth, having more space around and like outside of what everybody else has decided it is such a gift, is such a gift. So bars, if you can find them, please go get them run. And that whole thing that I had spoken, I know I've talked on different baby talks about this, but one of the things that we also, another tool we use in Access is what's true for you is actually light for you. One of the things that like for me personally, like I had spent my whole life being aware of what wasn't true, because what's not true for you will actually be something that kind of like makes you feel like, ugh, or contracts you or makes you feel heavy or just like sad or weird or not yourself. Like when you get that like weird, like, ooh, that is actually an indication that whatever is being presented isn't actually true for you. So that simple tool is like what I had taught myself to do is to become aware of all the things that weren't true for me, i.e., heavy, and figure out how to make them true for me or light, which actually doesn't work. It doesn't actually create, you can't make anything true for you that isn't. So you spend a lot of time and effort trying to change something that isn't actually changeable. And then judging yourself based on the idea that, like, when you go in the direction of something that's heavy and it doesn't work out for you, most of us then go into this whole blame, shame, regret, and guilt thing of ourselves because we couldn't make the thing that wasn't actually true for us work for us. So my suggestion is, so you're growing a baby. What does it take? Start to ask what's true for you. Like, what would you actually like to create? What does it actually take for you? Because it is going to be very different for you than anyone else. And if you allow yourself to have that space of like, this doesn't have to look like anything else that I've seen, anything else anyone else has seen, doesn't even have to look like what your previous pregnancies have been. Every being and baby is different. Your body and you are going to cooperate and engage with that specific pregnancy different. So why not start and be in the question of like, okay, what is actually true for us? And allow it to be different. Like, What if what it takes is for you to be like, what would we like to create today? What would I like to eat today? What kind of movement would my body like to have today? Like how much sleep would my body like to have? There's so many ideas and theories and modalities and with pregnancy and birth, you could spend your whole life studying them. And when you start to like, it's fine to have all of that information and awareness, but like, what if you were to start to go like, now ask the question, what would we like to be and do today? What would create the most ease for my body today? Like, what if you started to look at and ask the question every day? Like, if you were truly being you and allowing your baby to be your baby, what would you both choose today? What if you started every morning with that and allowed it to be something different? Didn't go into, oh, I'm craving this thing today, I shouldn't be craving that. Didn't go into whatever shows up as a wrongness. If it's light, if it lightens up your world, if it's easy to choose, that's what's true for you in that 10 seconds, in that day. And if you didn't have to then make your next day the same day as today, what else could you choose? What else would you choose? And so this is one of the ways you can start to really navigate the landslide of information, expectation, experiences, stories that you are so aware of that goes on around you that basically has nothing to do with you and your baby. The only thing that really has anything to do with you and your baby is what's true for the both of you. So play with these tools. If you can find somebody in your area that runs bars, access bars, go get your bars run. Please, at least 2 to 3 times before you have your baby. More if you'd like to have more ease. To say that it's a dynamic process and it changes births is an understatement. And I have personally witnessed it. So please ask me any questions if you have them. You can join the Baby Talk with Cara Wright group, and we will see you next week for Baby Talk Tuesday. I hope this contributed to you, and have an amazing day.